All right, we're going to go over rules versus norms. There's a difference between a rule and a norm. Rules have explicit consequences. And by explicit, what I mean is you know the consequences ahead of time. They tell you, this is the rule, and this is what happens if you break it. On the other hand, norms, nobody knows what happens. If you violate the rule, this is going to be the punishment. But it's not. It's a norm. Rules and norms are different. Now, it helps to have examples. Can you give me an example of a norm that everybody understands, everybody conforms to, but you don't really know what happens if you break the norm? You show up on the job site, you don't have your personal protective equipment. They send you home. That's a rule. Rules have consequences. Norms, they have them, but they're not made explicit. Give me more examples. Rules, norms. Anybody ever been to a Black Friday sale? Okay, so a few people have been to a Black Friday sale. This is the day after Thanksgiving, and you're supposed to be able to get super wicked cheap consumer electronics if you get there way early. Why do you have to get there way early?
So you get it first?
Because you got to be in line first. What is there, some kind of rule about being in line first?
No, that's a norm.
That's a norm. Waiting in line is an American norm. And we share it with other highly developed Western, Northern European countries. Everybody queues up, that's the British term, in line. And we take turns. What happens on Black Friday if you cut in line?
Like in
The fact is, we have no idea. Is it possible that you will be murdered? Yes, because that's happened. Is it also possible that people will scowl fiercely? And that might be the worst consequences. Are you allowed to go 5 miles over the speed limit?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, behind Eric, I'm getting a nod. Are you allowed to go 5 miles over the speed limit?
They won't probably do it before it because speedometers aren't all powerful.
Okay, I think we can agree that going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit is illegal. That's against the law. It's called the speed limit, not like the Speed As You Feel festival, you know? Its speed limit says, thou shalt drive thy car underneath the limit. But there is a norm that says, well, if you're 5, maybe even 10, depending upon the road conditions, miles an hour over, we're not going to prosecute you. It's not a rule, it's a norm. So we can think of lots of examples of rules versus norms. Now, here's the question, which is more powerful? Norms are extraordinarily powerful. You'd think that rules, because they have explicit consequences, that rules would create the right kind of conditions to get the behavior that we want. But rules just set up a contract. Rules are like, hey, if it's worth doing the time, maybe I'll do the crime. What happens when you break a norm? Celebrities often make a living out of breaking and rewriting norms. It used to be, before the Beatles wore their hair down to here, that all the boys had to have their hair cut short. And then they didn't anymore, because somebody broke that norm. So often the norms are broken by the cultural trendsetters, the people who profit by drawing attention to themselves, as Donald Trump has, by breaking the norm. All society is looking, what is going to happen to Donald Trump? What's going to happen to the Beatles? What's going to happen to Miley Cyrus? What's going to happen to people who break our expectations? And if they're like, okay, or if they get $11 billion worth of free media time, then other people start doing it too.